Welcome, everyone, to Breath of Life Conversations. I am your host, Abigail, and I am a medical intuitive master healer and nurse by trade. I can't leave that one out, right? We
Yeah.
are here with my beautiful new friend. I just got enamored with when I was going around Facebook, just trying to find new amazing guests to have on this amazing series. And I found Raya. So I am so excited for you to get to meet her and learn about what she does and how she works and all of that. Please, please, please introduce yourself, my dear, and let us know what it is that you do.
Hello, thank you for having me today, Abby. And yeah, I, well, how do I get started? I always, I always try to get myself ready when people ask me that question, but it's always I'm always in a different frame of mind each time, and I'm like, where do I begin today? But no, my name's Raya, and I'm originally from the Philippines. I moved here to Canada. And just like every other online coach, I suppose we got our calling during the pandemic because everything just suddenly went online, right? I have been an in-person fitness coach since I don't want to say what year, but it's been a while, over a decade now. And yeah, that has been my life, I believe, for quite some time because at a young age, I started becoming active because as a Filipino, we have that cultural stereotype where if you're a really round, chunky child, you gotta lose weight. So I suppose I started my journey and learning a lot more about fitness through summer camps. And my favorite sport of all time until now is Taekwondo. I got into martial arts, and that I believe paved the way for me learning a lot more about being physically active because I was very much influenced by my coach at the time. And being influenced, it was also something that he shared with me. He was telling me, okay, I am currently taking my master's and I am doing an exercise related course. And I asked him, like, what is it? And so during the time I was trying to decide in university life, I was telling myself, okay, my focus really and my interest ever since I was young other than sports was to become a doctor. That was my main goal. I think every Filipino household, you get to the point where growing up, you're influenced by your parents. They tell you you have to be in a profession where you earn a lot of money. And that would be being a lawyer, a doctor, a businessman, engineer, things like that. And
Right.
so growing up, I was an athlete. I was very interested in exercise. And I told myself, okay, perfect. College offers sports science. So I was like, okay, this is brilliant. I can do my sports. I can study for med school. But as they say, things happen that are generally, it generally leads us to where we're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So after university, I told my parents, I am burnt out. I do not want to go to med school yet. So can you at least give me the year off? But my mom, being the mom she is with her intuitions, she was telling me, okay, you're going to take a year off, try to find like a side hustle. And she's like, once you start working, you're probably not going to push through with med school. And so it was like, no, like I assured her several times. I was like, I'm going to go to med school. Don't worry. One thing led to another. me being the sports science major, the time freshly graduated, I was so curious as to how I would apply what I learned in university to whatever it was. So I was like, okay, what would be the perfect way for me to begin this? And there were, you know, commercial gyms opening up left and right. So I was like, maybe I should try it. Because a lot of the alumni from our school, that would be the track that you would go to. You would either be a fitness trainer or go straight to med school. So I was like, okay, maybe I can have both worlds, right? So I'll do the fitness trainer route first and then eventually go to med school. At least I have like extra money with me, right? But let's just say, you know, didn't quite end up as I told myself it would. So I became a trainer and I love the job. Like to me, it I don't know. Right now I can't really like pick off the correct words for it, but I'd say for the lack of term, I felt like I belonged. Like I truly felt that it was a calling. So, you know, but I don't get me wrong, I did feel really bad still that I wasn't able to like, you know, push through with med school because that has been like such a childhood dream. Like ever since I was young, I had that answer to everyone who wanted the question answered, like, what do you want to be when you want to grow up? And I was like, okay, I'll be a doctor because I wanted to, you know, make sure that people are taken care of. And so, funny story, speaking of taking care of people, during the time that my first couple of years as a trainer, I also experienced some family members going in and out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And I actually have this experience where I was like, okay, I took the time off of work taking care of a family member. And there was this probably like a eureka moment for me that really solidified that, okay, girl, you are really meant to be a fitness trainer because I was like stuck in the elevator with like back in Manila, it was a really popular hospital and the building was pretty high. So 17th floor, I think. And so I go in the elevator. I'm the only non-hospital staff in the elevator. And it was like dead silent. All of them are like on their phones. And I was thinking to myself, this energy that they all have. I mean, you know, no offense to our medical field workers, including yourself, but it was, you know, that at that very moment, I was telling myself, okay, I really don't think that I could manage to be part of a hospital and helping people that way.
Yes.
To me, it felt like I had to remove myself from the situation, with which I think, you know, I could never imagine myself being a doctor because I would probably be so emotional for the patient. I'm like, the family members would probably be like, what the heck is happening to our doctor? That sort of thing. So to me, that was like probably God's way of telling me that, because I firmly believe that a lot of the things that I've decided on with my life, whether it be something that I thought was not right for me, was actually leading me to where I'm supposed to be. So that at that very moment, I was like, okay, girl, it really isn't something that's for you. You
Right.
know, the approach that you could, I mean, I knew I could still help people, but in a different way. And I knew that that way was to keep them, try my best to keep them from not going to the hospital, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so to me, I think that that's pretty much like the intro to my journey. And yeah, so far, also translating what I have learned in person online, it's been quite a whirlwind of experiences for me because there's so much more technical stuff when you do everything online. But to me, it's just, another day with helping out a client and creating
Mhm.
programs that can help them change their life. So,
Yeah. I I find it so fascinating listening to people's intro stories because I feel like there's always it's how to say, like, we hear about the hero's journey all the time. And it's like when I
yeah.
listen to people say, I'm like, yeah, there's the hero's journey right there. Like,
Yeah.
they go in with this like idealized like idea of their life, right? For
Yeah.
you and for me, it was being a doctor.
Yeah.
And um, and then something happens, right?
Yeah.
If we're thinking about Star Wars, it's like the Empire rises up, right?
Yeah.
And
True.
and that, or that, you go through your Saturn return, or
Yeah.
whatever, um and you're forced to really evaluate who
True.
you are, what it is that you want. I love that
Yeah.
story of being in that elevator, and I completely understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's part of the reason why I was like, I have to build my own business, and it has to
Yeah.
be a conjunction between the modern medicine that I was trained in, as well
Yeah.
as the professional intuitive sphere that I've always been and didn't always know the language for.
Yes.
Because I agree with you. There is a level of distance, and there is a level of dissociation
Yes.
that pervades the energy of people who work in the healthcare systems
Yes.
across the world. There are absolutely exceptions to that rule,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they're having to detach so much
Yes.
in order to, quote, remain professional,
Yes.
quote, to not end up getting angry with their
Yes.
patients, because there's some patients that are incredibly demanding, incredibly
Yes.
mean, incredibly nasty, like, and not because that's who they are as a person, just
Yes.
they're in pain or they're frustrated. And
True.
so at the end of the day, it's like, the anybody, right? we
Yeah.
all we all are nothing more than mirrors to
True.
whatever is coming at us, right? We're reflecting back what it is that we are seeing.
Yeah.
And so I completely 100% understand that, and really commend you for being strong enough and courageous enough to be very honest with yourself and saying, like, this world, while it has its merits and it has its function, and there are people who can be in that realm or that
Yes.
verse, right? That's not for me. That's not how I'm meant
True.
to heal people. And for you to have, like I said, the courage to step into a completely other line of healing, still under that umbrella, but in a completely different way. I'm curious about your thoughts about the, like, preventative medicine world, which is what you're a part of. This,
Yes.
I'm going to help you keep your body as healthy as possible so that you don't have to go to the hospital. So you don't have to be on medication. So you don't have to do all that. How is it that you feel about that space? Is there a particular, is it like, I just feel really great about it, or is there also these, like, things where you're like, if I could change it, this is what I do?
Well, like for me personally, like I've always enjoyed being being there for my clients. And relatively speaking, like me as a trainer, my first experiences with clients, it wasn't really focused too much on the health aspect. Beginning my journey as a trainer, it was more really like, helping out gym goers. Like it was just generally speaking, like I want to exercise, help me out, give me a program. That was it. But of course, as you go along and as you become a lot more experienced, you get to a certain point where some clients will come and approach you and ask you like, okay, I just experienced maybe high blood pressure, and the doctor told me like I need to exercise. Can you help me out? And the thing with that is, of course, it would always come in conjunction with working with your doctor. I will not be the trainer who, will push you to a particular change if I know for a fact that it's also, not going to be good for you, right? Because of course, like when we talk about high blood pressure, when you exercise, that's an automatic reflex for a person. Your high blood pressure or your blood pressure will go a little bit higher while you exercise. So to me, it was like when I started out, I was, to be honest, when I started out, it was a little bit iffy for me because as a young trainer, I was like, I wanted to prove myself that these are the programs that would help them. But at the same time, with me, it was like, okay, well, they have a health condition, and I, as a coach, should never really push them to a program or training that's not meant for them. And to me, these days, relatively speaking, some people look into like popular celebrity trainers and influencers and things like that. And I know like a lot of the information that they give, it's correct. Don't get me wrong. Generally speaking, a lot of the information that's out there is correct. But the only thing that is probably bothersome for me as a trainer myself is the fact that people do that. Like, number one, they generalize it too much. Number two, I really find it so frustrating that everything that needs to be brought from point one to the actual result is always time-based. It's like, it's not that way. People think, or they always relate to this result, X result in 7 days, or X result in 30 days. It drives me, honestly, it drives me mad.
Thank you so much. Can I just like say that? Like, thank you so much because time is irrelevant. And I have this same conversation with my clients, and I'm not a personal trainer. And for the same reason that if you're going to sit and say, well, I need to get healthy in 2 days. Well, I mean, and don't get me wrong, right? I believe in miracles, but I also, for as much as I'm an optimist, I'm equally as much a realist, because I know that people at like baseline are going to try to find the easiest, fastest solution, which is not always going to be give you the best results. So, especially, I'm sure that like I mean, I can see it from your perspective of like, not only is it like, well, fine, I can give you this intense restrictive diet with these really intensive, exercises. And in 7 days, I could get you there. But just watch that in like, once you've done whatever it is, like once you've gone to your high school reunion, you're going to go and you're going to, eat a bunch of pizza and drink a bunch of wine or a bunch of beer, and you're going to lose all of the progress that you made in those 7 days, and nothing is long lasting. And how is it that you emotionally deal with clients coming to you asking, like, you might be in a discovery call or something, and they're like, well, how fast can you make me a size 2?
Like, to be honest with you, I'm the type of person, I believe I am, you'll see it in my face. I can probably try to be as professional as I can, but of course these days like discovery calls are on Zoom, so they'll probably see the expression on my face. I try not to be I try not to be as judgmental as I normally do. But no, but seriously, if sometimes it takes a little patience, it which I myself, I am happy that I've been able to develop that through the years. But you're right, like emotionally, sometimes it can be a little frustrating, but of course, I try my best to really up a notch my understanding of the person who wants the help that they need. Because to me, it's like, well, they came to me for a purpose. And my goal as a trainer is not to really like judge them. Like they tell me, oh, I want to be a size 2 in so X number of days. And can you do that? Of course, I would always try to explain it to them and try to make them understand as much as I understand what they're going through, that they want that result as quickly as possible. I want them to understand as well the other underlying, you know, factors that would contribute to the result that they want. Okay, you want this result as quickly as possible, but at the same time, are you ready to do the work that, you know, is connected or that you will need to do in order to reach that goal? And sometimes they're like, okay, guess not. So, you know, you try your best. Like I do try my best to make them realize that, okay, it can be done, but realistically, if you're not willing to do the work, then, you know, we have to think of other options, right? So that,
Right,
yeah,
exactly. And I love that you say that. Like if you're ready to do the work,
yeah,
then anything is possible.
true.
Absolutely anything.
Yes,
And
it is.
the truth is like, can you be the coach and the professional and the friend or the mentor or
Yes,
whatever it is to be honest enough with people saying,
yes,
it's not that I don't believe in you. I'm
yeah,
simply going to be that person that shows up for you as much as
mhm,
you show up for yourself.
yes,
And I see how that is very much like allows for you to keep boundaries for yourself and allow for
true.
you to have a level of success that I know you've attained, because when you do that, you actually attract the very people that you want to come into your world. You're
Yes,
like, you know what? If I put out that I want somebody who's willing to push themselves and work with me and do the thing and show up for themselves, absolutely do you end up calling in those
yes,
people who are like, Raya, I'm going to do this. I've got this. I'm going to be here every day
yeah.
on my computer, ready to rock and roll with you.
Yes, exactly. And you're right about that. I mean, when I look at it hindsight, a lot of the clients that I've worked with, they're pretty tough people. They were moms, they were students, professionals, whatever area of life they were in. My favorite success story is a young man who worked with me. He was in college back then. He was probably way past 200 pounds. And he was motivated enough to change his lifestyle because we we kind of secretly, like the gym, the people at the gym I worked at before, we kind of secretly included him in um kind of like a sponsored product competition kind of deal. So he had like 36 days. No, sorry, 3 months in total. So that was like, he was given 36 sessions for free from that company. But anyway, fast forward to him trying to reach for his goal, and he pretty much lost a bunch of weight. And that's what I say and try to explain to everyone is, if you're given a time frame, it can work, but you have to do the work. And I am fortunate enough to have been able to work with people who have the same kind of objective for themselves. Doesn't matter if it was, you know, making sure that their medicine, the medicines that they take would, drop down, or if it was something that they were trying to prepare for, like maybe a wedding or a special event,
Right, like
they
marathon or something.
yes, exactly. They would always like make sure that they were in the right mind frame. I was also able to experience people who signed up and weren't really in line with the same level of thinking. I remember another young man who came up to me and he was like, during this time, YouTube wasn't really that much of a big deal. So when he came up to me, he was like, hey, like my name is so and so, and I'm enrolling with you. And in 30 days, you have to, and he shows me the video. I have to be like this in 30
What?
days. And I was like, he was like tall and scrawny, and his transformation, the transformation he wanted was like literally bodybuilding competition transformation. And I
No
was,
way.
yes. And during this time, I was like, okay, I was trying to be very patient with him. And I told him, okay, I won't make promises I cannot keep. I am just telling you right now that I am being very realistic with your you know your current body structure. Like it's going to take a lot of work, and in 30 days we can probably get you started, but I will not promise that you will look exactly like this person. And he was like, but no, it's like he did it in 30 days too, so I can do it. So I was like, okay, that's pretty much good fighting spirit, but all right, I'll make the program, make sure you show up. He showed up for like the first 4 days and dropped off right there
Oh
after.
no.
Yes. And to me, I was like, sometimes you feel bad as a trainer when someone, enrolls with you and expects you to do a transformation. But at the same time, I was telling myself, I really did tell him. Like I was I gave him caution, right? So it means like the amount of effort that he wanted to put into it was equivalent to 4 days. So the 26 other days are like, good grief, goodbye. So
Right.
yeah, so to me, it's always going to be, I will be there. That's always what I tell when I do a live class, because I have a Facebook group and I do a live class there. And every time I always tell them, I'm only here to guide you. But if you don't want to do the work, that's out of my hands. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
just so many points in there of how important it is to show up for yourself, to
True.
be honest with yourself, but to have just this a beautiful dream, a goal, right? That
Yes.
to get yourself through. Raya, how can people work with you? How can they get into your world? How
Mhm.
can they start really pushing themselves to get the transformations that they want?
Well, right now I am currently working online. A lot of the work that I do right now is online, so they can go visit me. I am on all platforms. I am on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook as RK Moves Daily. This is pretty much a passion project for me. It started out during the pandemic, and I told myself it's a way for me to share not just my journey with others, but also make sure that I share content out there that's easy to follow, that they can do anywhere, anytime. And right now, I'm actually opening up another batch of 12-week programmers. So if they're interested, they can just DM me. And yeah, you can always message me. I also have a Facebook group. It's called the Better You Method. So you can join the community there. It's a very supportive community. And we always have live classes that you can be able to attend. And yeah, to me, the journey is always starting out with the simplest and the most basic things. Fitness is not complicated. People just think it is because of the things that they see online. And to me, I always try to share it that, the people that you see online, they did so much work. It took so much time for them to do that spectacular thing that you saw. And you can do it too, but you have to, again, be certain that you are ready to do the work that they did exactly, because whatever transformation they have done, it took time. And that's what you need. And aside from taking time, it's also making sure that you master the basics. So that's in principle, that's how I work with my clients.
Oh, beautiful. I love this. I love this so much. Raya, thank you so much for being here with me today. I am
Thank you.
so excited for my viewers to get into your world, to start working with you guys. Don't let your circumstances right now be the thing that keeps you stuck. Remember, there is always something that you can do. You don't have to have a gym membership in order to get healthy
Yes.
and to be able to move your body. And Raya being online really can work with you in fantastic, amazing ways to utilize what you have already in your home, already in your vicinity to get to the place where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
If you've worked with me, I always say reaching your own personal level of health and physical fitness. Please, please, please look down below at all of the links. We will get all of her places out there for you in the show notes.
Mhm.
Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share with anyone that you feel like could benefit from this conversation. Thank you again, Raya, for joining
Thank
me
you.
on this day and in this conversation. I know that you are going to continue to do amazing and beautiful things with all of the people around the world. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Abby. It was such a wonderful time spent with you. Thank you. Thank you. And for everyone listening, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Join us next time for the next Breath of Life conversations. Bye, everyone.